Chosen one, this message finds you at a turning point. Heaven has been watching your endurance, your quiet prayers, your unseen tears. What felt like delay was preparation. What felt like isolation was alignment. Today, the weight lifts and the direction sharpens. God is not calling you to be perfect. He is calling you to be willing. The stirring in your spirit is not imagination, it is activation. Old chapters are closing because a greater work is opening. Stand still long enough to hear it clearly. Your name has been spoken, your steps are ordered, and your assignment begins now. Chosen one, understand this truth deeply. The call on your life was never a question mark, only a confirmation waiting for the right moment. God has already spoken, even if your ears doubted and your mind wrestled. The clarity you are sensing now is not sudden. It is the result of layers being peeled away. Confusion had to fall so conviction could rise. You were never overlooked, never misplaced, never forgotten. Heaven has been watching how you handled pressure, how you stayed pure in secret, how you kept believing when nothing around you agreed. This calling is clear because it survived every attempt to silence it. There were moments when you tried to convince yourself that this assignment was for someone else. You told yourself you were too ordinary, too flawed, too tired. But God does not call the loudest voice. He calls the surrendered heart. The reason the call kept returning is because it belongs to you. You could not escape it, no matter how many times you delayed obedience. The restlessness you felt was not anxiety, it was alignment forming. Your spirit recognized the voice, even when your logic resisted it. Now the resistance is gone, and what remains is certainty. This calling requires obedience, not applause. God is not asking you to be understood by people. He is asking you to trust Him fully. There will be moments when the instruction does not make sense to those watching you. Some will misunderstand your silence, your separation, your sudden shifts. Let them. Obedience often looks strange before it looks successful. The call is clear because it does not negotiate with comfort. It pulls you out of familiar places and into faith-driven action. If it were easy, it would not be divine. Remember how many times you were tempted to quit, to shrink back, to choose ease over purpose. Each time you stayed, heaven took note. Each time you said no to distractions, you said yes to destiny. The call is clear now because distractions no longer satisfy you. What once entertained you now feels empty. What once drained you now repels you. This is evidence of transformation. God refined your desires so your direction would be undeniable. You are not stepping into something new. You are stepping into what was always yours. The call existed before the struggle. The struggle only shaped you to carry it. You were taught patience because your assignment requires wisdom. You were taught endurance because your assignment requires longevity. You were taught humility because your assignment carries influence. God never wastes pain. Every tear became training. Every delay became discipline. Do not confuse fear with a lack of calling. Fear often appears when purpose is near. The enemy resists clarity because clarity produces movement. But God is not giving you instructions to overwhelm you. He is giving you direction to free you. When God speaks clearly, it is because He knows you are ready to act. The season of waiting has ended. The season of responding has begun. This call will require daily surrender, not once, not occasionally, but consistently. Obedience is not a single decision, it is a lifestyle. There will be days when you must choose faith over feelings, obedience over explanation. On those days, remember who called you. Remember that God does not issue assignments without provision. What He demands, He supplies. What He initiates, He sustains. Chosen one, the clarity you feel is sacred. Guard it. Do not allow doubt, comparison, or outside noise to distort what God has spoken. Stay close to His voice. Stay sensitive to His nudges. The clearer the call, the more important intimacy becomes. You are not walking alone. Heaven backs every obedient step you take. Today, the call is no longer distant or faint. It is firm, present, and personal. You know what to do. You know where to move. You know what to release. Trust that knowing. This is not pressure. It is purpose awakening. Stand tall in it. Answer boldly. The call is clear. And your obedience activates everything that follows. Chosen one. There comes a moment when everything you endured suddenly makes sense. What once felt like endless waiting now reveals itself as intentional preparation. God was not delaying you. He was developing you. Timing is sacred in the divine order. And preparation is the proof that you can be trusted with what is coming. You were not being held back. You were being built up. Every closed door, every pause, every season of silence was shaping your discernment, strengthening your spirit, and aligning your character with the weight of your assignment. You had to learn how to stand without applause before you could move with authority. God trained you in hidden places because public impact requires private maturity. While others were rushing ahead, you were being slowed down on purpose. That slowness protected you. It kept you from arriving too early, unready, or unstable. God understands timing in ways the human mind cannot. He sees outcomes before beginnings, and He prepares His chosen accordingly. There were lessons that could not be skipped. You had to learn patience, so you would not panic when progress seemed slow. You had to learn restraint, so you would not misuse influence when doors opened. You had to learn dependence so success would not separate you from God. These lessons were not punishment. They were protection. Preparation is love in disguise. God was ensuring that when the moment came, you would not crumble under the weight of answered prayers. Now, timing has caught up with preparation. What you have been carrying internally is ready to be expressed externally. The reason things are shifting quickly is because you are not starting from zero. You are starting from trained ground. Heaven has already invested time into you. What feels sudden to others is the result of long obedience behind the scenes. That is why you should not doubt yourself now. You are not underqualified. You are finally aligned. You may notice that opportunities are appearing without force. Conversations are opening naturally. Resistance is weakening. This is not coincidence. This is divine timing activating stored preparation. When God releases movement, it flows with less struggle because alignment has already been established. You are stepping into momentum, not chaos. Trust the pace. You do not need to rush or hesitate. Move with confidence, knowing you were prepared for this exact moment. There were seasons when you questioned your progress because nothing visible was happening, but invisible growth was taking place. Roots were deepening, vision was sharpening, faith was being tested and strengthened. Preparation often feels unproductive because it works beneath the surface. But now, fruit is emerging. What you cultivated in secret is ready to be seen. Do not minimize your journey. Honor the process that shaped you. God's timing also protects you from the wrong connections. If things had happened earlier, certain people would have had access they were not meant to have. Certain environments would have damaged what God placed inside you. Delay preserved purity. Delay preserved focus. Delay preserved you. Now that timing has shifted. God can trust you to discern who belongs in this next season and who does not. You are not behind. You never were. You are exactly where preparation meets release. That intersection is powerful. It is where fear loses its grip and faith takes the lead. It is where obedience becomes easier because confidence has been built through experience. You have already survived the hardest parts. The rest requires trust and movement. This is why God is asking you to act now. Not because you suddenly became ready, but because you have been ready for longer than you realized. Timing is catching up with who you have become. The internal work is complete enough for external responsibility. Do not wait for more confirmation. Preparation has already spoken. Chosen one, walk forward with peace. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into fulfillment. Preparation has done its work. Timing has opened the door. What happens next is not forced, it is aligned, and alignment produces results that last. Chosen one, something sacred has shifted within you. What once felt stolen, suppressed, or diminished is being restored with intention and power. Authority is not noise or dominance, it is alignment with truth. And when alignment returns, authority follows naturally. God is restoring your ability to stand firm, speak clearly, and move decisively without fear of approval or rejection. You are no longer asking permission from doubt, from people, or from your past. You are remembering who you are and whose you are. There was a time when fear tried to sit on the throne of your decisions. It disguised itself as caution, humility, or patience, but underneath it was hesitation born from wounds. God allowed that season so you could heal, not so you could remain small. Now healing has done its work. The voice that once trembled is steady. The mind that once questioned every step is settled. Authority is restored when inner agreement replaces inner conflict. You are no longer divided within yourself. This restoration is quiet but unmistakable. You will notice it in how you respond instead of react. In how you say no without guilt and yes without anxiety. In how opposition no longer shakes your confidence. Authority does not announce itself. It reveals itself through peace under pressure. God is restoring that peace to you. Not passive peace, but governing peace, the kind that leads, not follows. What once resisted you will begin to respond, because authority changes spiritual atmosphere. Doors that were locked by intimidation will open through obedience. Conversations that once drained you will now shift when you speak with clarity. People will feel something different when they encounter you, not arrogance, but weight. That weight comes from alignment with God's instruction. When heaven backs your steps, resistance loses power. You are also being restored to self-trust. There was a season when you doubted your discernment because of past mistakes or misplaced trust. But God never revoked your discernment. He refined it. Authority returns when you trust the wisdom God placed inside you. You no longer need constant validation. You recognize truth when it speaks. You sense warning before danger appears. That is authority operating internally before it manifests externally. Do not confuse restored authority with perfection. You will still learn, still grow, still adjust. But you will no longer shrink. You will no longer silence yourself to keep others comfortable. Authority means you honor God's voice above all others. It means you move when He says move, even if your knees still shake. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is obedience in spite of it. And that obedience activates authority. There will be moments when old patterns try to resurface. Old doubts may knock. Old voices may attempt to reclaim space. When that happens, remember that authority is maintained by awareness. You do not fight what you can dismiss. You do not argue with what you have outgrown. Stand in truth and let truth do the work. God is teaching you how to govern your inner world so your outer world can align. This restoration also comes with responsibility. Authority is not for control, it is for service. God restores authority so you can protect what matters, guide where needed, and influence with integrity. You are being trusted again, not because you earned it perfectly, but because you surrendered completely. Heaven responds to surrender with empowerment. You may notice that people begin to seek your perspective, even without understanding why. That is influence, not manipulation. Influence flows from authority rooted in humility. Stay grounded. Stay listening. Authority grows when intimacy with God remains central. Do not let momentum replace devotion. The deeper your connection, the stronger your authority. Chosen one, this restoration is not temporary. It is the result of seasons completed and lessons integrated. You are not reclaiming a former version of yourself. You are stepping into a stronger one that knows when to speak and when to be silent, one that moves without panic, one that trusts God enough to lead. Fear no longer leads you. Faith does. Clarity does. Obedience does. Authority has returned to its rightful place, and with it comes peace, direction, and favor. Walk in it gently but confidently. What God restores, He sustains. Chosen one, this is the moment where faith stops being a concept and becomes a movement. God is not waiting for you to feel completely ready, fearless, or certain. He is waiting for you to move. Faith was never designed to sit still. It is activated through action, not intention. You have prayed, reflected, healed, and prepared. Now the invitation is simple and weighty. At the same time, take the step. Not tomorrow. Not when conditions improve, now. Many people misunderstand divine movement because they believe God only acts after everything is perfectly aligned on the outside. but God moves when obedience aligns on the inside. The Red Sea did not part until Moses lifted the staff. The ground did not hold Peter until he stepped out of the boat. Movement always precedes manifestation. Waiting for certainty keeps faith dormant, but movement wakes heaven's response. As you move, clarity follows. As you move, provision appears. As you move, fear loses its authority. You may feel hesitation rising, and that is normal. Faith does not remove hesitation, it overrides it. God never promised that the step would feel easy. He promised that it would be guided. You are not being asked to see the whole path, only to take the next step. Obedience unfolds in stages. When you move with what you know, God reveals what you need next. Stillness now would be disobedience disguised as caution. Understand this clearly: God moves with you. You are not advancing alone. Every obedient step is met with divine support. When you choose movement, heaven aligns resources, people, timing, and protection in ways you cannot plan. This is why the enemy works so hard to keep you frozen. A stationary chosen one is a delayed assignment, but a moving chosen one activates momentum that cannot be easily stopped. Do not underestimate small steps. Faith is not always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it is a quiet decision to show up, speak up, release something, or begin again. Small obedience carries massive spiritual weight. God measures faith by willingness, not by size. What looks minor to you may be the very action that unlocks the next door. Movement signals trust, and trust invites divine partnership. There will be moments when you move without immediate confirmation. Resist the urge to turn back just because results are not instant. Faith is not validated by speed. It is validated by consistency. Keep moving even when it feels repetitive. Keep moving even when recognition is absent. Heaven tracks obedience long before people notice results. Momentum builds beneath the surface, before it becomes visible. You may also notice resistance increasing once you start moving. That is not a sign to stop. It is proof that progress is happening. Resistance often appears when territory is being reclaimed. Do not interpret opposition as failure. Interpret it as transition. Stand firm and keep moving. You are not forcing doors. You are walking through ones God has already unlocked. Moving with faith also requires release. You cannot step forward while clinging to what God has asked you to leave behind. Old identities, old fears, old attachments, old versions of yourself, they cannot travel with you into this season. Release is not loss. It is alignment. Letting go creates room for what is next. Trust that God never removes without replacing. Chosen one. This movement will stretch you, but it will not break you. Growth always feels unfamiliar at first, but soon, what felt uncomfortable will feel natural. What felt risky will feel rooted. Obedience strengthens spiritual muscles. The more you move, the stronger your confidence becomes, not in yourself, but in God's faithfulness. This is not reckless movement, it is guided movement. Stay attentive, stay prayerful, stay sensitive. Faith moves, but it also listens. God will redirect if needed. Your responsibility is not perfection, it is responsiveness. When He nudges, you move. When He says pause, you pause. But you do not freeze. You stay engaged with the journey. Today, The instruction is clear. Take the step, send the message, start the work, speak the truth, walk away, begin again. Whatever God has placed on your heart, honor it with action. As you move, heaven moves with you. Paths form under your feet. Strength rises in your spirit. Purpose unfolds in real time. Chosen one, your assignment does not activate in stillness. It activates in motion. Move with faith, and watch God meet you on the way.